Okay, so we're two daf behind the rest of the world, Memphis. And the Mishnah spoke about the Kohen Gadol and Nazir that are a lot of in time of the mitzvah. Yesterday's Gemara, it spoke about the Kohen Gadol. That was a number of days. The Gemara wanted to know how do you know that a Kohen Gadol and a Nazir are a lot of in time of the mitzvah. Yesterday Gemara spoke about a Kohen Gadol, and today's Gemara speaks about a Nazir. So we're on Memphis and Aleph. About what is that? Halfway through the page? Yeah, about halfway through. And the Gemara starts Ashkelon Kohen Gadol. Nazir Menava. So you just explained to me how do you know what the source was that a Kohen Gadol was long time with a mitzvah? How do you know that a Nazir is long time with a mitzvah? We're talking about a Nazir alone. The Nazir Kohen Gadol both having two hats. That's going to be a single later on. But so far, Nazir, how do you know that a Nazir is a lot of time to a mitzvah?
Sorry, Ashkelon
Kohen Gadol. We find the Kohen Gadol was yesterday's daf. How do you know Kohen Gadol is Mitami L'meis Mitzvah? How do you know that a Nazir is Mitami L'meis Mitzvah? What's the source? Today's the Gemara is mostly drushes. Of course, you always get I'll not look as we go along, but it's once in a while you see in the pasuk. The Tanya, it says in the pasuk. So first we'll start the beginning of the pasuk, and there's going to be an interesting extra drusha. It's not our subject, but then we'll get to our subject. The Tanya, Kol Dimeas V'Ola Hashem Al Nefesh Lo Yavo. The pasuk really says Al Nefesh Meis Lo Yavo. Put in parentheses because the Bryce is coming to explain why you have to have the word Meis. And if it wouldn't have the word Meis, that's what would have said Al Nefesh Lo Yavo, wouldn't have been enough. So if the pasuk would have only said Kol Dimeas V'Ola Hashem Al Nefesh Lo Yavo, if it would have said as long as he's separating the Nazir to Hashem, so he should not come upon a soul. Al Nefesh Lo Yavo. If it would have said that, it doesn't say that. It says Al Nefesh Meis Lo Yavo. But if it would have said he shouldn't come upon a soul, and we would have understood that it means a dead soul, but he would have made a mistake. You would have thought there's not even have contact or come into with a nevela, a corpse of an animal, and that's not true. He's allowed to touch a dead animal. He becomes tummy, but there's no issue for a nazir to become tummy to an animal. It's only issue to become to a dead person. So, and you might say, is an animal called a nefesh? Do you call the soul of an animal? Do you call it a soul? Yes, it does. Yishalmena talks about over there that if somebody kills an animal, he has to pay for it. And over there it calls nefesh behema. So there is such a thing as a nefesh behema. So that's because it says on nefesh lo yavo, it doesn't necessarily mean a human. Maybe it means any kind of soul, which would even include an animal soul. That's why you have to have now we take it out. It's only talking about a human soul, and that's when he's not allowed to become contact. He can't become tummy to a dead person, but there's no reason to become tummy to a dead animal.
I'm sorry, we word mace because we thought we know.
We know what we're saying. The person is saying would not have said the word mace. Wouldn't have been also understood the same thing as the extra word form. Why do you need the word mace? It should be about the word mace. It should have said Al Nefesh Lo Yavo. Would have been good enough. So the Bryce explains why it's not good enough. You need the word mace, because without the word mace, you would have thought the animal soul is also called a soul, and he's not allowed to become tummy to a dead animal.
They took it out in the wrong place.
Who took it out? They put it in, but they put it in the wrong. The way it reads,
Loyo at the bottom. I have it in brackets. I don't know why.
This one, the one that's in blue, is in brackets.
Yeah.
No, that's a mistake. Well, brackets means that it's
maybe this is where it was supposed to be, and not up there.
Parentheses and not parentheses or brackets.
No, the top one they changed it to parentheses.
And they took it out. There they took it out, and here they put it in. Okay, it's supposed to be in. The brackets usually means putting it in, but it could be that they made a mistake in the original prints. But
okay.
Here it has without any brackets. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Okay.
So how do we know that? What do you need the word mace for? To tell you that an animal soul is not also for a nazir to have contact. There's a lot of touch of that animal.
Doesn't become tummy.
He becomes tummy.
Oh, he does.
But there's no issue for nazir to become tummy to an animal.
That's right.
There's no issue for nazir to become tummy.
Tummy mace.
Tummy mace. So mace means not what does tummy mace mean? It doesn't mean a dead animal. It means a dead person. How do you know?
I think Shvatzim, he said yesterday.
Yes, Ziva and Metzora, everything's mutter. It's only Yosem. If we wouldn't say the word, you would think that that animal is Yosem.
Al Nefesh.
So that's the Nefesh made.
Okay.
Now you know that it means a human life. Rabbi Shmuel says, and that's Tanakama. Rabbi Shmuel says another source to know that it doesn't mean an animal Ain't also only the word mace for that. He says it shouldn't come upon nefesh. Coming upon, that means that ohel. Coming upon usually called like lo yavo. Don't come upon him, like don't be an all over him, don't go into the same house with him. So that is only referring to a kind of a tumah that could be an ohel. Shows that happens by coming in, and an animal doesn't give off tumas ohel. There's no tumas ohel on that animal. There's maga, masa, but there's no ohel. And
Because
the
it's out in the open? Because it lives out in the open?
No, even if it comes in, even if it's inside a tent, even if it's inside the house of that animal, or dies inside the
Oh,
house,
it's not gonna
it doesn't
happen.
give tumah in the house, only a dead person.
Oh, I
So
see.
even without the word mace, you would have known that. So far we have two drushes to know that there's no Isra for a nazir to become tummy to a dead animal, either because it says mace or because it says lo yavo. All that is very beautiful and not some way we should remember it, but it's not our subject. We didn't bring it for that. We
I
brought it.
assume it a period. Is that what
Right. I'll put a period over there also. And now we're going to get to what our subject is. Rabbi Shmuel's continuing to talk, and he's going to dash from the pasuk. First, he told us that lo yavo doesn't mean an animal. All this, we have two drushes that doesn't mean an animal. Now we're getting into the meat of the drushes, and this is all we're looking for. As we just recall, the whole sugi came in now. How do you know that a nazir is allowed to be matami kamis mitzvah? That's our subject. So we didn't find out yet, but we have an introduction in the beginning of the pasuk that there's no issue for a nazir to have contact or be with a dead animal. Okay, now goes the Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel continues talking. It says in the pasuk, "La vivu limo, la chibu la'achoso, lo yitamei lahem, lo yitamo lahem b'mosam." First, it says he shouldn't come upon the soul, a dead soul, nefesh meis lo yavo, to his father, to his mother, to his brother, and to his sister. He shouldn't become defiled in their death.
is a nazir?
The nazir.
Mhm.
And the Gemara is talking. So right away it starts. The Brisa Bishmol talking. Who is the pasuk? The pasuk says and but so far the Brisa says that the words lovable limo, it could be medayik. And once it says already that he should not become tamid, so we would know everything. We would know of on everybody else. So why does the pasuk have to say explicitly our father and mother for the deal that this is us, but something else is mutter. And this, according to the Gemara right now, that'll be enough of a drasha. For our purposes, because if this would be true, I mean, if we would stop here, we have enough. That's all we want. We just want to know how do you know that a nazir is mitzvah? He says because it says la'avabul limo, which is extra. It says already he's not allowed to become tamei too with the dead. You know that it means that father and also. So the fact that it says father and mother, it comes to we should be able to deduce from that he is allowed to become tamei to a meis mitzvah. Everybody happy so far?
Why is it? Why do you make that deduction? Mitzvah?
Because it says that this is also something else is mutter. All meisim are usher. Father and mother are usher. We would have known all that. So to say specifically father and mother to do something that something else is mutter. So so we really could stop here and finish. We got the answer, but the Brisa continues, and the Brisa asks on itself: you need a pasuk for it? Do you need a pasuk? A nazir can become dismissed. What do you need a pasuk for? Even if it wouldn't say it, I'll be able to figure it out with a Avrohom. We know from yesterday already that a kohen gadol will become tamid to a meis mitzvah. Now you want to know how to know a nazir. Nazir she'en kedushas kohen gadol or a nazir. The Gemara thinks a kohen gadol.
No, but we had yesterday about the Corbin.
Very nice. That's what the Gemara is going to say. First, the Gemara takes one choice. The Gemara says your choice. That kohen gadol is more because he's eternal. The nazir only as long as he's born. But the kohen gadol is forever. So, the kahuna is forever. The kohen gadol is not forever. He can become demoted. But the kahuna is forever. And if it doesn't get off, then it stays forever. So, and he's like, I'm talking to a meis mitzvah. So another which is not forever, it's only as long as he made it for, is not a kavachor. So why do you have to have a pasuk for? The Gemara answers, Levi Yaakov's answer. First, why? No, not necessarily. Imam b'kohen gadol shekein enemy korban al tumasa. Tamar b'nazir shemei b'korban al tumasa. We see a chumrah of nazir also. When a nazir becomes tamei, he has to bring a korban about that. Chatas ha'ola and asham. And kohen gadol became tamei, even though it's avera, or if it was b'shogig bonus, but he doesn't bring any korban. The nazir has to bring a korban, even if it was bonus, he has to bring a korban. And the kohen gadol doesn't. So now they say it's not that a nazir is more chomer. So even though you know that a kohen gadol may become tummy to a meis mitzvah, but how may korban also lo yitam lo meis mitzvah? You might think that since it's so homer that he has to bring a korban, maybe it's so homer that he's not allowed to become tummy to a meis mitzvah either. Even though you know kohen gadol, you don't know nazir. That's why I said you need a pasuk. So that's why you have to have this pasuk. Back to the love Volimo tells you that he may become tummy to a meis mitzvah. You can't figure it out by yourself. You wouldn't know it from the Avrohom to Kohen Gadol. So you do a special pasuk to tell you that it's mutter to a meis mitzvah. The Brisa says that maybe it's not such a good drasha. Okay, you need a drasha. Good drasha. Because maybe there's something else that is told that you should deduce. Before Chaim says how you to deduce. So we deduced because that's the only thing. But the stranger that died, he is allowed to become tummy, which we would say like that doesn't make sense. That the other all the Mason is allowed to become tummy, just to his father and mother is not allowed to. Would that be a svara? Anybody have a svara why that should be?
Why that should be?
Why should it be such a thing that he's allowed to be a tummy with everybody else, but to his own relatives he's not allowed to? It should be the opposite. So my Chavusa said that maybe they say on the page.
Everybody?
Everybody's allowed to become tummy. There's no issue for a nazir to become tummy to anybody, only to a relative. So you might, maybe
Abba or Ima,
but everybody else he may,
including strangers,
yes.
and his sister.
Okay, that's a bad question. The sisters, whatever. But Sham Mason doesn't mean only their brother and the sister. It means any Mason to be allowed to look at. So relatives, not we'll see right away. It means relatives and non-relatives. So we know always that relatives is more reason to be mutter. But the Bryce is taking the opposite spin. Maybe relatives, dafkas, osir, and strangers is mutter. They say this one might be because maybe it's more painful and becomes more taken out of balance when it's a relative. As a stranger, he doesn't take him out so much from his state of mind. So you might think that on the contrary, other Mason are mutter and relatives are also. So then you have no source to say. It's interesting. Then you wouldn't have the drasha meis mitzvah. It means you don't need maybe a meis mitzvah was a relative. Maybe that's the case. You have to have a drasha. But the Gemara wants to know how do you know this drasha of meis mitzvah? Maybe learn it differently. The Gemara answers no. Like Moshe said, that we know this far. Which one is more chomer from a regular kohen? Amad kal v'chomer. There's a kal v'chomer that takes care of that. Oma kohen hediot shemitam lekrovim eni mitam l'sham mesim. Nazir sheni mitam lekrovim eni din shemitam l'sham mesim. That we know from that. Then a regular kohen hediot that he's also to have to other strangers, but to relatives he's mutter. So you see, this was not the way the Gemara proposed. It's not that relatives are worse; relatives are better. Relatives are more reason that it should become tamei. So back to the kal v'chomer. So back to the drasha. There's a pasuk that says lovable limo, and it's coming to deduce something. We have to deduct something from there, deduce something from there, and that's going to be meis mitzvahs mutter. So that's what we were looking for. That was our whole the opening title today. How do you know that a nose is mutter for a meis mitzvah? And Rabbi Shmuel says lovable limo. That's coming to is mutter to a meis mitzvah. Just to the kasha. You don't need a pasuk because kal v'chomer is good. I can pick it out of a kal v'chomer from a kohen gadol. That the Gemara answered. It wouldn't be a kal v'chomer. Then the Gemara said, "How do you know to darshan this? Maybe darshan something else that even is mutter to all strangers is a mutter." The Gemara says, "No, we know from Ahanedit that that's not so."
Is the Brisa continuing still?
Yes, the Brisa continued a long time. And I just ends out the Brisa continues. This is a continuation of the Amar Aleph. So the pasuk is not coming to tell you all relatives are mutter. The pasuk is coming to tell you that a meis mitzvah is mutter.
What do you know from Kohen Hedya?
You that the which is more svara to become tummy to a relative or non-relative. Like you see that a relative is more reason to be mutter. The strangers is also mutter. So we're not going to say opposite that the relatives is also and the strangers is mutter. So that's not a tzad. So when it says love of is coming to we wanted to do something from there. Is that right word? Deduce? Is that the way to say it? So we're going to deduce that a meis mitzvah is mutter. So we looked for a source, we got it, we're happy. But now the Gemara continues a second line, we're not so happy. And it's going to be
now we finish.
Still the Bryce. No. until further notice. You want to know where it's over?
No, until further notice, okay.
You like it
well,
that
let me
way?
know.
Which way you like better?
Huh?
You like to know from the beginning where it's
I
over?
just like you to tell me when it's over.
Okay.
I don't need to know.
I put the two dots. when it's over.
Sometimes, you go on and then I say,
Uh-huh.
where did it end?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that was the 10.
Okay, so we'll make a big period over here when it's going to be over. Here's what
Because
it's
I block them off and it helps me.
Here's what the brush is going to be over. So the second line, it goes now from like the second line until it goes for about 12 lines or so until the brackets here. And it's very similar to not similar, but it's the same vein as the Gemara first has. Very interesting. They say that the Gemara is very interesting. It had, you don't need a pasuk for a meis mitzvah. And then it said the pasuk is not good enough. And now it goes back again to say that you don't need a pasuk. I mean, similar to what we asked before, that you don't need a pasuk. You can learn from a couple from a Kohen Gadol, and then the Gemara answered that. Then the Gemara went to the other extreme, that the pasuk is not enough for you. The pasuk maybe tells you that all mesim are mutter. I don't see the connection over there. Now the Gemara goes now on Amud Beis to ask another question similar to the first, that you don't need a pasuk. I have another source to learn out that a meis mitzvah is mutter without a pasuk, and that's how the Gemara starts on the second line. The brisa, even with saying it, I should be able to learn out that I meis mitzvah is mutter. How would I learn it out? Never klolos the Kohen Gadol. Never klolos. The word klolos is not a curse. It's with a kuf, not with a kuf. Klal, generality. With Kohen Gadol, and then it says a klalos of It means both of them say that it's also to become tamid meis. Before they're trying to do a Avrohom, the nazir is more chomer than the Kohen Gadol is more chomer than the nazir. That we said no, but at least learn out like a mamatzinu that if you find there's such a case where there's also to become tamid, and there's a heter for a meis mitzvah, so other places also where there's this to become tamei, not with a Avrohom, just like a mamatzinu. If you find it over there, so we should say it's the same
Common
thing.
denominator.
Now, common denominator, yeah, I guess that's the way to say it. It's not going to be so, yeah, the common denominator is going to be that there's issa to become tamei. But both of them we say that there's issa to become tamei, defile oneself to mason, exception of meis mitzvah. So what's the knows? Not because a couple shouldn't be any difference. Muhammad Sin is just like you find over here that there's this coming to mace and meis mitzvah is mutter. So here also the Torah says this to become tummy to mace, but the meis mitzvah should be mutter. Ma klolos amors between God love of einem matam with the meis mitzvah. Ma klolos amors benozir love of einem matam with the meis mitzvah. Why is that not good enough? That's the Morris Kasha. Learn out from a Muhammad Sin from a Kohen Gadol that there should be after of a meis mitzvah. You don't need a special person. The Gemara answers that wouldn't be a nice way to learn out because someone might say that it's the same as a Kohen Hedyot. If it just says that this is to become tummy by nazir and wouldn't have specified, so then we wouldn't have said that it's similar to a Kohen Gadol. Maybe we'll say that it's similar to a Kohen Hedyot. Maybe the nazir has the same halachas as a Kohen Hedyot. It is not allowed to become tummy to people, but he's not allowed to become tummy to relatives. Oh, this is the answer already. Maybe take a different route. That it says in general that a Kohen Hedyot is not allowed to become tamei, and it says by nazir is not allowed to become tamei. Maybe he should be similar to a Kohen Hedyot, that he can't become tamei to strangers, but he could become tamei to his relative, to his father. That's so the Gemara seems to say that therefore your first rush is not good. You wanted to say. The truth is, Rabbi Shmuel says that Malaviv or the Imo tells you that a meis mitzvah is mutter. And the Gemara is asking, maybe you don't need it. Learn it out from a Kohen Gadol. The Gemara says, I wouldn't be able to learn out by a Kohen Gadol by myself, because maybe I would learn out that it's similar to a Kohen Hedyot. I think so, yeah. That's the terrace. That if you have another, it's only one route to take, so then that will be a good Russia. But if there are two routes to take, now you don't know which one to do. So therefore, we have to have the pasuk back to what we wouldn't know how to
end up that the nazir could matami for his father.
Right. Like all the relatives on the standpoint. The pasuk wants to say that now. So now, so therefore, we need the drasha. The way the brisa reads is therefore your kasha is not a kasha, and we do need the pasuk. Back to the original drasha that Bishmal said that the pasuk was going to teach you that meis mitzvah is mutter. Now, right now, the Gemara really tripped itself up. The Gemara just said a second. You could have skipped all this, and the next kasha in the pink over here in the red is going to be a kasha. The kasha could have been in the first. We could have skipped the 30 lines and asked the kasha right away. As soon as we saw this brisa, as soon as Rabbi Shmuel said this line, right away we could have asked the upcoming kasha. Okay. But it's even a stronger kasha now that we saying that you don't know is also to relatives only if it says so. If it doesn't say that a nazir can't become tamei, we find the kohen head it can't become tamei, but it could become tamei to relatives. So without telling us specifically that a nazir cannot become tamei to relatives, we don't know it by ourselves. Even if the pasuk says don't become tamei
It
to
says
relatives.
the father, mother, brother.
Right. If it wouldn't say those things, if it wouldn't say that, you wouldn't know. It just says don't al nefesh meis lo yavo. You shouldn't have contact with the dead people. But you wouldn't know that he's what? It's like kohen head, which the Gemara said a second ago. Right, like the clock. Really, the Gemara could ask the kasha right away. Also, would have been a valid kasha. But now, when Amish, we fell into the trap that the Brisa that said you might learn that he's like a kohen hedyot, then he's also to strangers, mutter to relatives. So you need the pasuk love of alimo to tell you he's mutter to ameis mitzvah. That's not the way to do it. Without the pasuk love him, you're jumping to tell me that he's mutter to ameis mitzvah. I mean, I tried to slick. I tried to verse it before, and nobody stopped me. I said that the love of alimo as if to say it says already that he's also to get come tamei. So father and mother also. I made it sound under my breath like so. Father and mother is also. So it must be come to tell you some heter that a meis mitzvah is mutter. But I wasn't privileged to say that. Who says that father and mother? Even though it says he shouldn't become defiled to the dead, but to say father and mother, that's even a bigger chiddush. You find the kohen hedyot is also to the dead, but it's mutter to a father and mother, and 7 relatives. So just because it says he shouldn't become defiled to the dead, you don't know that his father and mother is also has to say so. So how are you eligible to use this Rasha to say that to meis mitzvah is mutter? You need it for itself. You need to tell me that he can't become tamei to his father and mother. So this Rasha of Abishmal doesn't fit, and that's what the Gemara asks now. Number base. It asks it even stronger now because we just mentioned that it might be like a kohen hedyot. So it's mamish he fell into this kasha. How could you use the drasha of Laviv to tell me that a meis mitzvah is mutter? You have to tell me first the fact that he's also to his father. So now the Gemara is going to represent it. It's going to present Rabbi Shmuel again. It's going to be different than we thought. Before we said Laviv Imo tells you meis mitzvah is mutter. Now the Gemara is retracting, for the Bryce is retracting, and it's presenting Rabbi Shmuel differently than it was presented before. And now we're going to dash in the 4 psukim, and it's blue. There's going to be laviv, la'achiv, la'imo, la'chosav. Really, the order is laviv, la'imo, la'achiv, la'chosav. And the Gemara is going to tell you each one of the drushes. The one interested in is going to be la'achiv. Now we say no, la'aviv, la'aviv, la'mashem, tami laviv. That's for the Pashup Shah, to tell you the gufo, that he's not going to come to his father. You wouldn't have known that. And how do I know meis mitzvah from the next pasuk? La'achiv. Why does it have to say, once it says his father, we know father, and Kolchkin, all the relatives also. So why does it say his brother? Once it says his father, you don't need his brother anymore. La'achiv tells you, so that's the real drasha of Rabbi Shmuel. How do you know that a nazir is mutter to mitame to a meis mitzvah? Because it says la'achiv. Of course it has to say laviv, to say that it's also to his relatives. But once it says his father, then Kolchkin, other relatives, he's also too. So why does it say la'achiv? To tell you that a meis mitzvah is mutter. Why
So
does
we got it from la'achiv?
Right. We thought before that it was la'aviv and aman aleph, but now we changed it. And we said la'aviv, you do need for the Pashup Shat, that he's also to his father. But now you don't need la'achiv anymore, because once you know his father's also, kavacham all the other relatives, the father's like the closest relative. So that's why la'achiv is extra to tell you that I meis mitzvah is mutter. It doesn't go in order. The pasuk order would have been la'aviv l'imo, la'achiv l'chosa, but it says here la'achiv first, and now goes l'imo, l'gzer shavu l'chidei Rebbe. That was an aman aleph. Yesterday's Gemara, that the Gemara said, top line of aman aleph. So it says there's a Gzer Shavu to learn out that is mutter to a Metzorah and a Zov. That's just on the top line. I just turned back, I scrolled back to the Aman Aleph. The Imo, the Gzer Shavu, the Chedei Rebbe, the Tani Rebbe Yomer, Rabbi Nazir, B'mosam, and the Metame, Hu L'nigam L'zivasam. That's a drasha to tell you that's only usher to the dead, not usher for a Metzorah or a Zov. Vein the Yellow B'nazir, B'koin Gadol Minayin, Amot Lo Yom Imo, B'koin Gadol, because it's not necessary. And therefore, since it says it, the word emo is extra. And now he's going to say, but the Gzer Shav has to have the link, has to have 2 emos, has to have emo there. So both of them are going to be extra, and therefore, this word, the emo that it says by now, yesterday the Gemara spoke about the emo that it says by Kohen Gadol. But now the Gemara is saying you also have to have emo on the other end of
Both
the link.
have to be extra.
Yeah, both are, that's not simple. That's called mufta mitzadachad, mufta mishnei stadim. If it's extra on one side, extra on both sides. Here the Gemara is saying both of them have to be extra. Yesterday the Gemara took care of the imo that it says by Kohen Gadol. Now it's saying that the limo that it says by Nazir is also extra, and therefore you can make a real strong Gezerah Shavu link.
Because we know imo from la'aviv.
Yes. Once it says he can't become tummy to his father, Kolchkin all the other relative. So why does it say all each one's going to be for a drasha?
Why is it Koshkin?
Or the same. It's the same. My brother is a Kolshkin. If the father is also surely the brother, the father is closer than the brother. He's only a brother through the father. Because you might say that the mother. So then it'll be
Others.
father's the link. He's the way that the brother became. And okay, maybe the one means that it's equal. You would be able to learn how to equal also. But why does it say Le'imo? Therefore, to tell you the Gzer Shav of Rebbe that said yesterday to learn out between Kohen Gadol and Nazir that both of them is only Aser ben Mosam, but it's not Aser. But Matzorah and Azav. If the relative is a Matzorah Azav, anybody's a Matzorah and Azav, it's mutter to become Tameh to them.
I'm sorry, I'm not getting the Koshkin. I thought if the father is very close,
And it's
and
Aser,
that's why you.
and that it's Aser to come Tameh to him. The Nazir may not become Tameh to his father. Even if his father dies, he may not become Tameh.
Oh, then Koshkin, anybody who's even.
Or further.
Okay.
Or equal. Okay. V'la choso. Why does it say v'la choso? We have la'aviv,
I'm sorry,
la'imo,
so Le'imo can start.
la'imo. Because the answer is l'gzer shav l'chid Rebbe. That's to tell you.
Really, look at the Rebbe, and it's what you said will be found on the other page.
Right. And then what does it say v'la choso for? The blues are the psukim. La'aviv, la'achiv, la'imo, la'choso. So what does it say v'la choso for? L'chid Tanya for the thing. I said the Tanya. La'choso matamad loma. What does that have to say v'la choso?
So this is the Bryce inside of Bryce.
Very interesting. I didn't notice that.
Okay.
I see what happened now. There were, I said it goes till the bottom over there, that I put two dots, but here, and by the pink, that was a Gemara's kasha. The Gemara interjected it. That this Hamiboyle is a Gemara's kasha. The Brisa seems to be temporarily over. It's going to be continuing, but by the end of my parentheses here, that's where the Brisa is over. And then the Gemara is interjecting this kasha, and therefore the Gemara is going to now mend the Brisa and fix it up for him. It didn't say all this in the Brisa because of the kasha. We're going to explain it. I didn't realize that.
Okay.
So the Aviv tells you that the Pashup Pshat, that he can become tummy to his father, and who are the all other relatives? Rachib tells you Meis Mitzvah, yes. The Imo tells you the Gzer Shav of Rebbe, that is only Aser if it's dead, not the Mitzvah and the Zav. And Lachoso is for the following Brisa. The Tanya, Lachoso Matamad. What does that say Lachoso? You know already that he's Aser to relatives. The answer is on the way to do a Korban Pesach or to circumcise his son, and he heard that a relative died. Should he take care of his dead relative? That's going to stop him doing the mitzvah.
The mitzvah.
The case also, the more circumcising his son might be, he's not going to be able to do the Korban Pesach because his son's not going to be circumcised. So what takes preference? If he becomes tamei, he's not going to be able to do Korban Pesach. Or it might be that he'll miss the 8th day for circumcising his son. So which one has preference? Ahmed lo yitama. No, he doesn't become tamei. He takes care of the mitzvah. If a person has the mitzvah of Korban Pesach and his dead relative, he doesn't Korban Pesach.
I'm sorry, you come in.
You might think he should become tamei. No, the answer is no. Don't become tamei. And do the Korban Pesach. And Taisa says here that it's so far not a drasha. So far we'd figure it out by ourselves. We figure it out by ourselves because lo asi yasei the tuma shein bo kares v'dochi yasei the Pesach omi lo sheish v'am kares. This is she takes it down. Interesting that the Gemara might be understood that it's somebody who's nazir and also going to do the Korban Pesach. Taisa means not Rashi. No, it doesn't mean that. I'll just highlight the Rashi over here. This is Taisa quoting Rashi. The Pesach umila greda below nazir v'kohen gadol. I'm talking about his nazir kohen gadol and also he's doing a Korban Pesach. A regular year, the Pasha kid that's doing a Korban Pesach or mila, and the reason why is the Pesach and the Mila have preference. Mishum de lo asi asay the tumah shein b'kares the dachi asay the Pesach Mila sheish v'am kares. That we know on our own that the Korban Pesach and Mila have preference because that's a very that it's sheish v'am kares. And the losas say regular a simple losas say is not going to override say sheish b'kares. I'm sorry, asay the dachi asay. It's an asay against an asay. It's an asay against an asay. And here it says that asay is a stronger asay. Pesach Hamil is a stronger asay, So the asay, what's the asay the tumah? You mentioned the lossy asay the tumah. What's the asay of tumah? It's an asay. It's a los asay. Mentioned the lo asay asay the tumah shein b'kares. Why is it called a again? Oh no. The tumah means that become tameh. He has a choice of a dead relative. There will be a mitzvah say to take care of them, and to become tameh, to defile himself to the relative. That's a say. And there's a say of a korban pesach. He has two assays in front of him. Which one should he do? So the stronger assay is assay sheish b'kares. So that we can know on our own. We know that a person is going to do korban pesach or milah that overrides the mitzvah of becoming defiled to his relative. So far we don't have the answer. What do you lachos for? I was coming to say, the case is now if someone's going to do the korban pesach or a bris milah for his son, and is a mitzvah. For a relative, we'd say don't become defiled. But if it's a mitzvah, yes, it become defiled. So this extra pasuk for lachoso has nothing to do with nazir and kohen gadol. It's telling us since we need it for something, it must be we have to look around. What else is possible?
His sister, he would.
What?
His sister, then
He wouldn't, right? He wouldn't become tummy to his sister if he any relative. He would become the pasuk for lachoso. He shouldn't become for a mitzvah of Pesach and Milah, but for a mitzvah, yes.
Yeah, but someone is doing it. It's other relatives. Someone is doing it. If no one else is doing it, then
Then it's also a mitzvah. Why is it not a mitzvah? Now, if this is asking that if no one's going to do it, it becomes a mitzvah.
someone is doing it.
Who's
Someone
doing
else
it?
is doing it.
Who's doing it?
His brother.
Well, why is he doing it? He also has to come Pesach to do.
He did become Pesach already.
He's not going to eat it tonight. He's not going to be able to eat it. Or maybe he's the father. Maybe he's the father already anyway.
He doesn't have to eat it.
You do have to eat it. What do you mean?
Yosef just smacked him.
No, there's two mitzvahs. There's two mitzvahs.
But
I think the chorus. The chorus is only on the shkita person, not on the eating the korban person. Okay, very nice.
The korban pesach, the mitzvah is to
Two
offer-
mitzvahs. One is to shechta, one is to eat it. To makriv it, to be a member of the korban
it is
pesach,
to-
and one is to eat it. Two mitzvahs. And this is saying the chorus is only on the shkita person, not on the eating of the person. Okay, good. So this is the
So if there's a couple of Kedusha, so then there would be
tummy anyway, and whatever.
the couple of Kedusha takes care of it, so you can do this korban Pesach.
Mm. And even though there's a mitzvah to say that it should become tummy to a relative, but the mitzvah to say of the so again, the mitzvah to say of the korban pesach usually overrides. Over here, the mitzvah is going to override. So you're saying that a regular case, but he's not doing it. Who's going to do it? Someone will do it. Ad kan Rabbi Shmuel. With the Gemara's help, it means the Gemara, because of the kasha in pink, the Gemara had to amend it a little bit, and we fixed up Rabbi Shmuel. We explained Rabbi Shmuel according to all the psukim. La'aviv, la'imo, lachiv, lachoso. The one we're looking for is lachiv. That's the one that tells you meis mitzvah. And Amaral, the first thought Rabbi Shmuel spoke that it's la'aviv tells you meis mitzvah, but we showed that's not true. That he needs for the pashup shot that he cannot become tummy to his relative, father, and anybody else. And lachiv came to tell you that it meis mitzvah, yes. Limo came to tell you the drasha of the Gzer Shabbat that it's mutter to a mitzvah and to a zav, and Valachosa came to tell you that one may become tummy to a meis mitzvah, even on the cheshbon of the Pesach and the meal that he's going to lose. So
It's
that was Rabbi Shmuel.
on itself, only so that he can do korban Pesach.
So I didn't see over here. I didn't look around the short preparation today. Here I don't see that Tosha talks about it. How come I don't remember like you? I think the reason is maybe it's not a chiv koris for the father, but it's called a seish koris.
Right.
But all the other might be that it means that he's not going to be able to do the korban pesach because he's not going to be able to do the milah. But that's a little bit he's going to tell me anyway. So he's not going to be able to do the korban pesach not because of the he's going to do the milah. He won't do the milah because he's going to become tummy. So it will be two roundabouts to talk about. He's going to become tummy. He won't be able to do the milah, and then he's not going to do the korban pesach because he's tummy. So it would sound like milah without the pesach. That it's called a seish b'koros, even though he's not chayv koros, but it's a seish b'koros, and he's going to miss the 8th day maybe, even though there's no koros on the 8th day either.
Right.
But it's a seish b'koros. It's a choshev mitzvah. If I didn't look into it, that's what I'm
So it's
doing.
kind of 6 minutes. Not the mitzvah.
because it came to him first. You're not saying because it's more.
Also been a mitzvah, which is more important than the other mitzvah.
He has two mitzvahs in front of him. Osik mitzvah is usually that he started doing one already. You don't stop. And here, both of them are in front of him. Which one should he do? So we say which one is the more humble one. Which one is the more severe? Okay. All that's Rabbi Shmuel. So far, if we would ask today's question, how do you know that a nazir is allowed to be entitled to a mitzvah? The answer is because it says lachiv. As Rabbi Shmuel says, because it says lachiv. And now we go on to Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Kiva, this is back to the Brisa. If we went off the Brisa, we come back onto the Brisa again. Rabbi Kiva Omer. So he's going to pasuk, and I put it more or less in blue. It's going to say nefesh meis lo yavo lo aviv limo lo chibul achoso. It's going to say also all the four things aviv imo achiv achoso, and the darshans nefesh meis. The Gemara says nafshos meis. They say it's a mistake because it doesn't say nafshos meis.
Al
Nefesh meis lo yavo. And our Gemara says nafshos. In this Gemara at least nafshos. It's a mistake to take out the word that because it doesn't say nafshos. It says nefesh. By Kohen it says nafshos. By Nazir, we're holding by Nazir over here. So it says nefesh. So they take out the vav so. So nefesh, if it would have said nefesh lo yavo, it would have meant strangers, rechokin, strangers, not relatives. Strangers, you're not allowed to come to him. He doesn't need a special. The keeper doesn't. Not yesterday. The beginning of the day we said that you need the word mace to say people and not animals. But the keeper doesn't need a drasha for that. It seems to figure out why he doesn't. Any pshat you're going to say, why doesn't he need a special drasha to say that an animal soul is not in the source, not in the issue over here? He says whatever what he might hold, but he doesn't think you need a pasuk for that. So nefesh would have told you strangers. Mace already tells you elok rova. Mace already tells you that all relatives are also us. If it would have said al nefesh mace lo yavo, that would have told us everything that relatives are us. And even though the Gemara secondly of Rabbi Shmuel didn't say that, it said how do you know that relatives are us? It's you have to have loving, you have to have something. But Rabbi Kiva doesn't hold that. Rabbi Kiva says if it says nefesh meis, it already is extra word to tell you, even relatives. For everybody else, it would have been enough to say nefesh. On nefesh lo yavo, I would have known that it means dead. And that would have been distant people. But if it says the word meis, that says kroven. So we know everything already. You don't need any pasuk legufo. So why does it say la'avav olimo lachav lachosa? La'avav olimo tells you mitzvah. Rabbi Kiva does of limo. You might ask, what do you have to have two of them for? Either one would have been good enough. That thing we'll talk about tomorrow. But here it says both of them. You need lovable limo to tell you that only to relatives what makes mitzvah yes, and that's going to be the answer to today's question. How do you know that another time to make mitzvah? According to Rabbi Kiva, from the pasuk of lovable limo. What do you have to have la'achiv for? Shemaya kan god levu nazir la'achvenim v'tamei. V'tam will make mitzvah. Also had to for a mitzvah, but even a more. The bigger chiddush. He's a double. He has two hats. He's also a kohen gadol. He's also a nazir. The kohen gadol is hard to become a nazir. It has two reasons why he shouldn't become tamei. And a meis mitzvah, no, it overrides everything. Even a kohen gadol and a nazir, both of them, he's also allowed to become tamei to a meis mitzvah. Want to say lachoso? Same as before. And he heard that a relative died, he cannot become tamei to them, but he is tamei to a meis mitzvah. Now it's the end of the brisa.
The achos, what did it do? What was the last one?
Lachoso.
What did we learn?
That it's mutter meis mitzvah, even overriding Pesach and Milu.
Oh, the Pesach.
It just tells you, etc. Chulu.
Yeah,
Right,
okay.
that's the end of the brisa. Now Gemara has a question. 1, 2, 3, 3 questions till the end of the page.
We have nafkaminas, and we just have the extra.
So far, I don't think there's going to be any machlokas in all these subjects.
They all agree
To this,
who can do the measurements.
right? Question we learn out from.
Okay.
So the Gemara Kasha that in Rabbi Kiva, if you now compare Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Kiva, the way they darshan over here, so Rabbi Shmuel had a pasuk of Leimo to tell you Gzeir Shavuot the Rebbe, and Kiva doesn't. Use both of them. Love Leimo to tell you my mitzvah is mutter. The Gemara didn't explain why you need both of them for. Maybe would have been good enough. It would have been simple to say the Aviv tells you that makes mitzvah is mutter. Limo tells you the Gzeir Shavuot, but it doesn't say that. It says love Leimo. Both of them tell you that mitzvah is mutter. So he doesn't have a pasuk to tell you the Gzeir Shavuot of Rebbe, which was yesterday's Russia on top of the page. That Torah and Nazir, there's no issue to become tummy to them. So how does Rabbi Kiva going to learn that point? That's the most casual Rabbi Kiva Gzeir Shavuot to Rebbe Menal. How's he going to learn the Gzeir Shavuot to learn out a Kohen Gadol and a Nazir that the Kohen Gadol also is mutter to become tummy to a Zav or Mitzvah. Amalach. So this is a hard one. This is a hurdle over here. Amalacha. Even the Amamar. Im haya Kohen Gadol benazir. Lachem tam mitzvah. Mali Kohen Gadol chudei. Mali Nazir Kohen Gadol. I just finished saying. He says Amamar. Amamar is by himself. Means Akiva. He's not talking. We're just saying what the Akiva would answer you. Amalacha. Akiva would answer you to the following. What we dashin in the pasuk we said la'aviv le'imo la'achiv la'achos. So by la'achiv we said the chiddush of la'achiv is that he's wearing two hats. He's also a nazir, also a kohen gadol, and therefore we need a special chiddush. Even he's also allowed to become a tamid to mitzvah. Now the Gemara seems to be retracting. It's not a bigger chiddush. It's not a bigger chiddush that he has two hats or if he has one hat. If either hat alone, a nazir alone is allowed to become tamid to mitzvah. A kohen gadol alone is allowed to become tamid to mitzvah. Now that he has both of them together, he happens to be a nazir and a kohen gadol. Is there a svara to say that he should not become tamid to mitzvah? So we said a second ago, yes. Now the Gemara is retracting. There's no such havamina. If either one alone, individually, exclusively allowed to become tamid to mitzvah. So if he has both of them, it's also allowed to come. You don't need a special place for that. So now we're going to retract and say that the drush of la'achiv is available. And what are we going to say? Oops, what are we going to do with that? We're going to use la'achiv now to tell you the Gzer Shava the Rebbe. The Gzer Shava Rebbe to tell you that just like by Anaz, it's only Yasab Mosam, but not a Savan and a Matzorah. So he's going to make the Gzer Shava. That's going to be the Gzer Shava now. That la'achiv. Erase this drasha about a Kohen Gadol and a Nazir. That's unnecessary. We can figure it out on our own. And what is la'achiv going to tell you? That he's the Gzer Shava of Rebbe, that the Isser by Kohen is only to become Tameh to the dead, but not to become Tameh to a Metzorah or a Zav.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was yesterday's, that was Gzer Shava to Rebbe. Yesterday was the Imo, and now we're using it la'achiv. It's very difficult, I think. I mean, when Mamash is doing surgery on the Brisa says something else, and we're saying it doesn't mean that. The Brisa says there is a chiddush, and he says there's no chiddush. He himself was the one who said the chiddush, that he said that there's a chiddush of a kohen gadol and a nazir, and now we're saying that no, erase that wasn't a chiddush, and lachav's coming to tell you Gzer Shava the Rebbe. It seems pretty hard. Next kasha. Did I get this wrong? Or maybe I got it wrong a second ago. Oh no! I got it wrong. I take it back. What I said is this Gemara now. I'm sorry. I take it back. This is even harder. That I'm gonna. The pshat in this first is very difficult. This is the way it goes. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Delete. It says here. This everyone's gonna jump. You're allowed to jump. It's not gonna make sense what I say. It says here that La'aviv tells you a meis mitzvah. Avrohom tells you meis mitzvah is mutter. Now La'achiv tells you that a kohen gadol and a nazir is also mutter to a meis mitzvah. Right? That was what it says in the Brisa. La'aviv tells you that he's allowed to become tamid to a meis mitzvah. La'achiv tells you that even if it's a kohen gadol and a nazir, he has two hats, also is mutter to a meis mitzvah. Yes. Now the Gemara is going to say that you do need the drasha of la'achiv, but you don't need the drasha of la'aviv. If you know that even if he has two hats, he can become into a meis mitzvah. So if he has only one hat, then surely he can become into a meis mitzvah. So you don't need the first drasha anymore. No, you can't say no, I gave a hakdam, but what I'm saying doesn't make sense. You have to have why it doesn't make sense. La'aviv tells you that it's mutter to become into a meis mitzvah if he's a nazir. La'achiv tells you that even if he is a kohen gadol and a nazir, it's also mutter.
No, but Aviv already was about the nazir.
We're talking about a nazir, right? Now we're talking about a nazir.
So then you don't need the second one. You don't need that he's a nazir too.
You need his nazir and a kohen gadol.
Yeah, he's still.
From La'aviv alone, you'd say only if he's a nazir. But
So why
because La'achiv is coming to tell you if he's
a kohen gadol?
What? No, kohen gadol we know already from somebody else. This is a parsha of nazir over here. We're dashing psukim by nazir. So by kohen gadol yesterday is already. It's a parsha by kohen gadol to teach you that a meis mitzvah is mutter.
Oh.
And now it tells you La'aviv to tell you that a nazir is mutter. And now it tells the word La'achiv to tell you that it's both of them together. He's a kohen gadol and a nazir is also mutter to a meis mitzvah. And now the Gemara says once you have this pasuk of La'achiv that tells you even if he's both a kohen gadol and a nazir is mutter, so you don't need the first pasuk anymore.
Nope.
You do why?
Because the father is.
If it says only love, we'd say that it's mutter to a meis mitzvah. Unless it's mutter to a meis mitzvah. Now it says lachir. It's mutter to say even if he's a kohen gadol and a nazir, also mutter to a meis mitzvah. And I was saying once you have the second pasuk, you don't need the first pasuk.
No, you do, because the fact that he's a Kohen Gadol and a Nazir doesn't show you that if he's not a Kohen Gadol, that he's a Nazir.
Why? Because even if he has two hats, he's allowed to become tummy to a meis mitzvah. So Shulach only has one hat.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense because the only way you know that la'achiv means he has two hats is because you have a pasuk for one hat already. How do you know that la'achiv means he's a kohen gadol and a nazir? Because a nazir alone you know, a kohen gadol alone you know. So la'achiv must be coming to tell you that he's both together. But you know that after you have this pasuk, you can't. That's not fair. You can't. If this one you know, so this one must be nazir. Then pull out the bottom one. That's not. So I don't know what the answer is. The Gemara seems to say that. That's what the Gemara said. That since you're screaming the Amamar, Imoy Kohen Gadol v'Nazir, La'achiv Enim Tam Ulu L'Meis Mitzvah, so Mali Kohen Gadol L'Chudei Mali Nazir v'Kohen Gadol. The words are a little strange, but it seems to say once you know from La'achiv that even if he has two things going for him, he's a Kohen Gadol and a Nazir. Still, he can be time to a Meis Mitzvah. So if he's only a Nazir, then surely, or he's only a Kohen Gadol alone, or a Nazir alone. The words are hard, but it seems to be the pshat.
He might have Mali Nazir v'Kohen Gadol.
What? Mali Kohen, Mali Nazir L'Chudei Mali Nazir.
Mali Gadol the Hedya, is that L'Chudei?
That's what it says.
L'Chudei
But Mali
Nazir
Kohen.
v'Kohen.
But really, you should say Mali Nazir L'Chudei. Talking about that Kohen Gadol yesterday.
The foundation of the Kohen Gadol.
You're saying that the Gemara means that here the pasuk says Nazir. Next pasuk says Nazir and the Kohen Gadol. Now that you have this, you don't need the pasuk that says by Kohen Gadol. And what are you going to do? You're going to learn out the Gzer Shavah, the Rebbe of the Kohen Gadol one, not of the Nazir one. I just have to go over it again. I'll try to come back tomorrow with better clarity. Next kasha was the Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol bu Nazir Menaleh. Rabbi Shmuel didn't have the drasha for the double one. Small scroll. He had a pasuk to tell you.
Father was one.
The father was one to tell you father. The brother told you meis mitzvah. The mother told you Gzer Shavah the Rebbe, and also told you the one who's going to the Korban Pesach. He doesn't have something about a Kohen Gadol and a Nazir. So don't you need a pasuk for that? So he says no. As far as I said before about one hat, two hat, that's how we have made a mistake. And according to Rabbi Shmuel, Kohen Gadol bu Nazir Menaleh, the answer is given the Shavach Man Echad, Lav, Gabi Meis Mitzvah, Mali Chad Lav, Mali Trei Lav. He doesn't see the difference if it's one or two. If the Torah says that a Kohen Gadol is mutter or a Nazir is mutter, so both of them together is not more serious, and you don't need a special pasuk for that. And the last kasha is Achoso Lamalim. What is that kasha? That if you don't differentiate between one lav and two lavin, so then there's no more chiddush also that the Pesach and the Milah, there's no svara to think that the Pesach and the Milah would override the Meis Mitzvah. If the Meis Mitzvah overrides a lav, and even two lav, and there's no difference already, so is there a chiddush that it overrides a person's doing a mitzvah? And the Gemara says yes, there is. It's not the same idea. It's true that there are two lavin over there, but that's still it's only lavin. That the asay is going to be doch. The asay, how does it go? That the Korban Pesach is going to override the nazir and the kohen. Sorry, again, what's going to happen over here? That the one who's doing the Korban Pesach is going to override the Nazir and the Kohen. Again, what do we know? We got mixed up here. The Nazir and the Kohen tell you that a meis mitzvah, that a meis mitzvah overrides the Isser of Nazir and the Kohen.
Which is a Sulam.
But I wouldn't know that the meis mitzvah is going to override the meal and the Pesach. About meal or Pesach, the Korah is slow you time of the meis mitzvah. I would have thought that it's us even to a meis mitzvah. Kamash Malan. Even you know that. Even if you know that already, I wouldn't mean a Avrohom. I thought that if I know that a meis mitzvah overrides even one lav, two lav, and so I should also know that it overrides Pesach or Milah. The Moshe says no, Pesach and Milah might be more. Since Pesach, I say Sheish Bakar, you might think that the meis mitzvah doesn't override. So you need a Pesach also. I don't think anybody argues so far. It's only question of drushes today, but Allah seems to be. I don't see enough community between Rabbi Kivi. Maybe it's going to be in the Hemshech. But so far, so what happened? That a Nazir is mutter to become tummy to a meis mitzvah. You have the psukim over here that it says animal. Everyone knows that animal is like tummy too, either because it says mace or because it says yovo. That was the beginning, and then these psukim now. So there's Rabbi Shmuel Kiva, Rabbi Shmuel and Amanal of the Gemara amended it. It wasn't good, and we're going to do this right here. The Aviv tells you the shot that he can become tummy even to relatives. The Aviv tells you meis mitzvah. Leimo is for the Gzer Shava that by a Kohen Gadol it's mutter to become tummy to the relatives who's anybody who's a mitzvah azav. And Lachoso is to tell you that it overrides meis mitzvah overrides Pesach and Mila. Rabbi Kiva says that with nefesh would have told you other people. Mace tells you already all relatives, and you have these 4 psukim that are extra. A lot of them will go together for some reason. Goes to mind, both of them that makes mitzvah. Lachid tells you two things together. It comes up and a nazir. Lachos again tells you that also Pesach. I know makes mitzvah. Rabbi Shmuel is going to say from Lachid, and Rabbi Kiva is going to say from. Okay. Yes, everybody. Thank you.
By Kohen Gadol, everybody says it's from Rosh.
I'm sorry.
By Kohen Gadol, everybody says
Everybody says
no.
that's yesterday's Gemara. Yesterday's Gemara.
Sure. There's no.
But that was the Bryce on yesterday's.